In the Maldives, where turquoise waters kiss endless horizons, the most extravagant honeymoon of 2024 lasted exactly 72 hours. The marriage just 14 hours and 47 minutes. By sunrise on day 4, the bride lay motionless in their private infinity pool. The groom had disappeared into the night, and a $180,000 dream vacation had transformed into an international crime scene. But here's what investigators didn't understand at first. This wasn't about passion. This wasn't some terrible accident. This was calculated payback, planned by a man who'd spent 26 years learning how to catch criminals, and more importantly, how to commit the perfect crime. Welcome to Crime Canvas. I'm bringing you a case so twisted it made headlines across 3 continents. A story where heaven on earth became a graveyard, where trust became a weapon, and where 3 best friends orchestrated the cruelest deception imaginable. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now. We examine real cases with the respect they deserve, honoring victims while understanding how these tragedies unfold. What I'm about to share will challenge everything you think you know about love, loyalty, and revenge. This is the story of a decorated police officer, a beautiful young bride, and the betrayal that turned paradise into murder. Meet Detective James Morrison. 53 years old, badge number 4739 with Vancouver Police Service. 26 years of exemplary service. 4 commendations for bravery. 7 citations for outstanding service. A spotless record that made him a legend in his department. But look closer at the man behind the badge. 4 years earlier, his wife died. Cancer, the aggressive kind that shows no mercy. He watched the woman he'd loved for 28 years waste away over 16 months. Buried her on a Thursday in September while their 2 adult children stood beside him, all of them shattered. His daughter Sarah was 30, married with 2 young kids. His son Michael was 27, starting his own family. Both had moved forward with their lives as children do, as they should. And their father, who'd always been the strongest man they knew, was suddenly alone in a house that echoed with memories. The loneliness consumed him. Every morning he'd reach for her side of the bed. Every night he'd cook dinner for 2 out of pure habit, then stare at the empty chair across from him. His colleagues tried to help. His children called constantly. Nothing worked. That's when the opportunity appeared. A private security firm in Calgary was hiring experienced officers. High salary, fresh start, a chance to escape the ghost of his former life. His old police buddies who'd already made the move kept calling. Come to Calgary, they said. Good money, new beginning, we're all here. So he went. Left Vancouver. Left the cemetery he visited every Sunday. Packed up his grief and his memories and flew across the country to reinvent himself. Within 8 months, he'd reconnected with 3 men who became his entire world. Robert Chin, his old mentor, age 60. Retired after 33 years. This was the man who trained him as a rookie, saved his career twice, stood beside him at his first wedding. Let's call him the captain. David Park, his former patrol partner, age 46, now a liaison officer with Calgary Police. The guy he'd spent thousands of hours with in a patrol car, responding to calls, handling crises. The guy he trusted with his life on the streets. Let's call him the partner. And Marcus Williams, his best friend of 18 years, age 51, owner of a successful security company. The man who'd given him the Calgary job, the man he'd vacationed with, celebrated with, cried with when his wife died. Let's call him the brother. These 3 men became his lifeline. Every weekend they'd meet for golf, dinner, drinks. They understood his pain. They shared his history. They were his brothers, his tribe, the men he trusted more than anyone on earth. And they were planning to destroy him. Now meet the bride. Aisha Rahman, age 24, born and raised in Calgary. She was beautiful in that way that makes people stop and stare. Long dark hair, flawless skin, eyes that could shift from sweet to calculating in a heartbeat. She worked at a luxury boutique in downtown Calgary. Chanel, one of those places where handbags cost more than most people earn in a month. She was exceptional at her job. Wealthy clients loved her charm, her taste, her ability to make them feel special. But that was just her daytime identity. At night, she became someone else entirely. She had 45,000 Instagram followers. Her feed looked perfect. Modest outfits, inspirational quotes, family photos. She presented herself as the ideal modern young woman, balancing tradition with contemporary life. But if you knew where to look, you'd find her at the exclusive parties where Calgary's wealthy elite gathered after dark, where married men met young women, where money bought discretion and silence. She wasn't an escort, not exactly. But she was available. For the right price, she'd appear at private events, beautiful and charming, and wealthy men would pay generously just to have her at their table, on their arm, in their company. That's how she'd met all three of them. The captain, the partner, the brother. At different parties over different months. Each had paid for her time. Each had slept with her. Each thought they were special, that she chose them specifically. Her family knew nothing about this double life. Her father's import business was struggling. Her mother was traditional, protective. They believed their daughter was a good girl working hard, building a respectable life. But Aisha was exhausted. Exhausted from pretending, from managing wealthy men's egos, from living two contradictory lives. She wanted escape. She wanted security. She wanted a future that didn't depend on the next party, the next generous client. She wanted a ticket out. And she was willing to do anything to get it. The trap was set on a Sunday afternoon. James was sharing a meal with his three friends, talking about how lonely he still felt. How his kids kept encouraging him to date, but he didn't know how to start at 53. That's when David, the partner, said casually, "I know someone perfect for you." What James didn't know was this conversation had been choreographed. Weeks earlier over drinks, Robert, the captain, had made a suggestion. "Let's set him up with that girl from the parties. The one we've all been with." They laughed about it. Then someone made it interesting. $50,000. The bet. Could she make the seasoned detective fall in love without him realizing what she really was? They called Aisha that night. Offered $20,000 up front, 30 more if she succeeded. All she had to do was make him believe she loved him, marry him, play the devoted wife. She said yes within 10 seconds. But Aisha had her own plan running underneath theirs. Marry the Canadian officer. Get established. Divorce after 2 years. Walk away with half of everything. Start fresh where nobody knew her past, where she could finally be whoever she wanted to be. The three friends thought they were using her. She thought she was using them. And James Morrison was about to be used by everyone. The introduction happened at a charity fundraiser. David brought Aisha over, made the introduction seem natural, accidental. She smiled, extended her hand. They talked for 20 minutes. She seemed kind, genuine, interested in his stories about police work, about his late wife, about his life. He asked for her number. She hesitated perfectly, just long enough. "I don't usually give my number to men I just met." "I understand," he said. "But you seem different. Maybe just this once." The courtship lasted 7 months. To everyone watching, it looked beautiful. He was the gentleman, bringing flowers, planning thoughtful dates, moving slowly out of respect for her family's traditional values. She was the sweet, proper young woman, introducing him to her parents, maintaining boundaries, playing her role flawlessly. Her family loved him. A stable Canadian officer with a solid career and financial security. This was better than they'd hoped for their daughter. His children were less enthusiastic. Sarah flew to Calgary to meet Aisha. "Dad, she's 24. She's 6 years younger than me. Age is just a number, sweetheart. Dad, please think about this. You barely know her." But he wouldn't listen. For the first time in 4 years, he felt alive again. He felt hope. He felt like maybe he could be happy again. What he didn't know was that every moment was calculated. Every laugh, every touch, every word of affection was scripted. Aisha was following instructions from the three men who thought this was all hilarious. They had a group chat. Made jokes about their friend's blindness. About how the great detective couldn't detect the con happening right in front of him. She was taking his money too. Expensive dinners, jewelry, a new car, designer clothes. Nearly $90,000 over 7 months. He gave it gladly, happy to make her happy, believing they were building a life together. 6 months in, he proposed. Sunset on the beach, roses scattered in the sand, a photographer hidden nearby to capture the moment. She said yes, tears streaming down her face. Posted it immediately on Instagram. #blessed, #engaged, #new beginnings. The three friends celebrated privately. The bet was won. The detective had fallen completely. The wedding cost $28,000. His children came reluctantly. Sarah tried one final time. "It's not too late. We can leave right now. Just say the word." "Why can't you be happy for me?" "Because something feels wrong, Dad. Something about all of this feels wrong." "You're wrong. Everything is finally right again." The ceremony was lovely. He cried when he saw her walking toward him. The three friends made speeches about true love and new beginnings, knowing the truth behind every word. James thanked them publicly. "I don't know what I did to deserve friends like you. You've given me so much." They smiled and felt nothing but satisfaction at their successful deception. The reception lasted until 2 in the morning. Then they went to their hotel suite. She excused herself to the bathroom, left her phone on the nightstand. It buzzed. A message from Robert with a heart emoji. James picked it up. The phone was unlocked. He saw the message thread. Flirtatious exchanges from 2 weeks ago. Photos of them together, intimate and unmistakable. He checked other contacts with shaking hands. Found the same with David. The same with Marcus. Months of messages. References to money, to hotels, to keeping the secret. Then he found the group chat. All 3 friends plus Aisha, going back 10 months. Plans, strategies, updates. I give it 4 months before he proposes. Robert, 6 months. David, loser pays 50 grand. Deal. Aisha's response made his blood run cold. Let's see if your detective friend is as smart as he thinks he is. The shower stopped. She came out humming, happy, victorious. He was sitting on the bed, phone in hand. Everything okay? She asked. He smiled. Perfect. You look beautiful. Inside, something cold and dark was forming. A decision taking shape. A plan beginning to build. The next morning he told her calmly, I booked us a honeymoon. The Maldives. We leave in 4 days. Her eyes lit up with genuine excitement. I've always wanted to go there. I know, he said quietly. Over the next 4 days he researched everything. Drowning statistics. Pool accidents. Investigation procedures in the Maldives. Extradition laws. He also read more messages, learning the full extent of their plans. How she intended to divorce him after securing citizenship. How she and the 3 friends were already planning when to reveal the truth, when to make him understand he'd been played for a fool. He booked the most expensive overwater bungalow at the most remote resort. Private pool. Total isolation. Perfect privacy. His children called before he left. Promise us you'll be careful, Sarah said. I promise, he told her. The 3 friends texted their congratulations. He thanked them warmly, told them he couldn't have found happiness without them. The night before leaving, he cleared his browser history after searching how to stage an accidental drowning. Then they left for paradise. She posted excited Instagram stories, hashtagging every moment. He stayed quiet, thinking about what came next. 72 hours. 3 days to finish what they started. She thought she was going on her dream honeymoon. He knew he was taking her to her grave. The seaplane touched down on water so clear you could see tropical fish swimming 30 feet below. The Maldives truly looked like paradise. White sand beaches, overwater bungalows stretching into the ocean like wooden fingers reaching for infinity. Resort staff greeted them with champagne and flower garlands. Welcome to paradise, they said. Welcome to your honeymoon. Their bungalow sat at the end of the furthest dock. Complete isolation. The nearest guests were 3 bungalows away, too far to hear anything. Private infinity pool that blended seamlessly with the ocean. Glass floor panels where you could watch fish swim beneath your feet. King bed with white curtains moving in the breeze. Everything perfect. Everything private. James tipped the staff generously, asked them not to disturb unless called. We want complete privacy for our honeymoon. I'm sure you understand. They smiled knowingly. Of course, sir. Enjoy your stay. The door closed. They were alone. Aisha threw herself on the bed, laughing with delight. This is incredible. I can't believe we're really here. She grabbed her phone, started taking photos and videos, already planning her Instagram content for the next week. He watched her. This woman who'd lied to him for 7 months. Who'd conspired with his closest friends. Who was planning to use him and then discard him like garbage. He watched her and felt nothing but cold calculation. Day 1 in paradise began with breakfast on their private deck. Fresh fruit, pastries, coffee. The sun rising over water so blue it almost hurt to look at. She was in a bikini taking selfies, tagging the resort. Hashtag honeymoon bliss, hashtag Maldives magic, hashtag living my best life. You're beautiful, he said. And she was. Even knowing the truth, he could admit that. Beautiful and dangerous. They spent the day exploring the resort, snorkeling, swimming. She was having the time of her life. He was observing, noting details. The depth of the water. The distance to other bungalows. The resort security patterns. When staff made their rounds. When the beaches were empty. Every detail mattered. 26 years of investigative training applied to something terrible. That evening they had dinner on the beach. Private setup, candles, wine. A server who brought courses and then disappeared. Romance in every carefully arranged detail. This is perfect, she said. Thank you for bringing me here. I wanted it to be special, he said. Memorable. It will be. I'll never forget this. Neither will I, he said quietly. Day 2 he woke up early. Checked her phone while she slept. She'd left it unlocked again, careless now that she thought she was safe. New messages in the group chat with the 3 friends. Her message from last night, sent after he'd fallen asleep. Day 1 complete. He's like a puppy following me around. This is almost too easy. Can't wait to start the citizenship process. Calgary, here I come. Robert's response. Don't forget us when you're living your Canadian dream. David, still can't believe he fell for it. Best bet we ever made. Marcus, should we tell him after the honeymoon or wait a few months? Aisha, wait a few months. Let me secure the citizenship process first. Then you can tell him. I'll already be protected by Canadian law by then. Laughing emojis. Devil emojis. They were celebrating, planning, enjoying his humiliation before it even happened. James put the phone back carefully. Lay down beside his sleeping wife. Stared at the ceiling. Felt the rage settle deeper into his bones. Day 3 in paradise. The last day anyone would see Aisha Rahman alive. The morning started like the others. Breakfast on the deck. She posted more Instagram photos. Hashtag best honeymoon ever, hashtag Maldives dreaming, hashtag blessed and grateful. But James was different today. Quieter. She noticed. You okay? She asked. Just thinking, he said. About what? About how everything led to this moment. Every decision, every choice. How we all end up exactly where we're supposed to be. She laughed, confused. That's deep for breakfast. Is it? He looked at her directly. Do you believe in fate? I guess. What? Because I think everything happens for a reason. We met for a reason. We're here for a reason. They spent the day separately. She wanted to visit the resort spa. He said he needed to rest. Really, he needed time to prepare. Mentally. Emotionally. Practically. By the time she returned at 5 in the evening, he was ready. You look relaxed, he said. I am. Best massage ever. How was your rest? Productive. I've been thinking about tonight. She smiled. What did you plan? It's a surprise. But first, I need to ask you something important. Something in his tone made her pause. Okay. Not now. Tonight. After dinner. By the pool. I want it to be special. She searched his face, saw something she couldn't quite read. You're scaring me a little. Don't be scared, he said. Just be honest. That's all I've ever wanted. Honesty. Dinner arrived at 7. Private service on their deck. They ate mostly in silence. He barely touched his food. She ate nervously, sensing the shift in energy but not understanding it. At 11 he suggested they go to the pool. Remember our special celebration? The deck was dark. He turned off most of the lights. Only the underwater pool lights glowed, making the water look almost black at the surface, electric blue beneath. She changed into her swimsuit, white bikini. He stayed dressed. Black shirt, dark pants. Aren't you coming in? She asked. So, first, I need to ask you that question. She stood at the pool edge, water lapping at her feet. Okay, what is it? He walked closer, held up his phone. I need you to tell me about this. On his screen was a screenshot. The group chat. The bet. The messages. All of it. Her face went white. Where did you get that? From your phone. Our wedding night. You left it unlocked. You went through my phone? I saw a message from my mentor. Got curious. Found everything. Silence. Her mind racing, calculating, trying to find an angle. So I need you to tell me, he continued. Was any of it real? Even one moment? She could have apologized. Could have cried. Could have begged. But she was exhausted too. Exhausted from pretending. So she told the truth. No. The word hung in the air. Not even a little? He asked. You're 53. I'm 24. What did you think? And my friends? All 3 of them? They approached me first. Your mentor paid for my company at parties. Your partner invited me to private events. Your brother hired me to entertain his business clients. Then they sent me to you as a joke. Could the party girl make the great detective fall in love? $50,000. They thought it was hilarious. Each word was a knife. He absorbed them without expression. And you? What did you get out of it? I saw an opportunity. Marry the Canadian. Get citizenship. Divorce in 2 years. Move to Calgary. Fresh start. And half your money. Thanks for the retirement plan, by the way. So everybody was using everybody. Welcome to the real world, she said. People use each other. Get over it. Did you feel anything when I told you about my wife dying? When I cried. I felt impatient. Waiting for you to stop talking so we could move forward with the plan. The cruelty was breathtaking. He nodded slowly. Thank you. For what? For confirming what I already knew. For making this easier. Making what easier? Fear crept into her voice. You said we're here for truth. So here's mine. I've known since our wedding night. I knew when I booked this trip. I knew every moment of the last 3 days. She stepped back from the pool edge. What? Because I needed to hear you say it? Needed to know for certain that there was nothing worth saving. So what now? You divorce me? Expose me? Go ahead. He looked at her with cold, dead eyes. She saw it then. The finality. The decision already made. She ran. Not toward the bungalow. Toward the water. Thinking she could swim away, reach another bungalow, scream for help. But she told him herself. She wasn't a good swimmer. He caught her arm at the pool edge. She struggled, screamed, but they were isolated. No one to hear. Please, she gasped. I'm sorry. I'll leave. I'll disappear. Please. It's too late for that. I don't want to die. Neither did my wife. But she died anyway. At least she died with dignity, with truth. What do you have? Please. He looked at her. Really looked at her. For a moment, just a moment, his training kicked in. The oath he'd taken. To protect and serve. To uphold the law. But then he remembered. The messages. The laughter. The 7 months of lies. His children's warnings ignored. His dead wife's memory insulted. His 3 friends' betrayal. He let go of her arm. She stumbled backward into the pool. The splash was loud in the quiet night. She surfaced, gasping, tried to swim to the edge. The panic made her clumsy. Water filled her mouth. Help me, she choked out. The officer stood at the pool edge. Wash. His police training told him exactly how to save her. CPR. Rescue techniques. He'd done it dozens of times in his career. But he didn't move. She went under. Came back up. Please. I can't. Under again. Longer this time. He checked his watch. Started timing. 3 minutes and 47 seconds. That's how long it took. She stopped moving. The water went still. He stood there for 15 more minutes. Making sure. Thinking. Processing what he'd done. Then he pulled out his phone. Called resort security. I need help. My wife. The pool. I think she slipped. Please hurry. He changed his wet shirt. The one that got splashed during the struggle. Hid it in his luggage. Then he went to the pool deck. Started screaming her name. Playing the panicked husband. Someone help. Please. My wife. Security arrived in 4 minutes. Found her floating face down. Pulled her out. Tried CPR. Too late. James collapsed on the deck. She was drinking. I went inside for towels. I heard a splash. Oh God. Oh God. Resort manager arrived. Maldivian police called. Statements taken. We were celebrating. She had wine. Wanted to swim. I warned her. But she laughed. Said she'd be careful. I went inside for just a minute. Heard the splash. By the time I got to her. Perfect story. Tragic accident. Happens all the time. Honeymooners, alcohol, pools, no witnesses. They almost believed him. Almost. But one detective noticed. The officer was too calm. Too controlled. The 15-minute delay didn't match his story. And when they checked his laptop they found the searches. How to stage an accidental drowning. The trap he'd set for her caught him too. By sunrise she was in the resort morgue. By noon he was in custody. By evening, 3 men in Calgary received calls from investigators. The game was over. Everyone had lost. The trial began 8 months after the drowning. International media descended. This had everything. Betrayal, conspiracy, age gap marriage, exotic location, murder. The evidence was presented over 4 weeks. Digital forensics. Timeline reconstruction. Expert witnesses testified about drowning patterns, psychological trauma, premeditation versus passion. The 3 friends took the stand, admitted everything. The bet. The setup. The cruelty. We thought it was harmless, Robert said, looking 20 years older. A joke between friends. We were wrong. David broke down crying. I introduced them. This is my fault. If I hadn't suggested it, she'd still be alive. Marcus was coldest. She was blackmailing all of us. We were trapped too. He killed her, not us. Then Aisha's friends testified. Described her double life, her schemes, her plans. She told me she felt nothing for him, one said. She said he was pathetic, easy to manipulate. The courtroom gasped. The victim wasn't sympathetic anymore. But then her mother took the stand. My daughter made mistakes, she said through tears. Bad choices. But she was 24 years old. She had time to change, to grow, to become better. You took that from her. You took everything. The emotion was devastating. Whatever Aisha had done, she didn't deserve death. Finally, James testified against his lawyer's advice. I loved her, he said. Even knowing the truth, part of me loved who I thought she was. Did you push her? The prosecutor asked. No. She stumbled. I could have caught her. I didn't. Why not? Because in that moment, I wanted her to feel what I felt. Helpless. Betrayed. Alone. And when she was drowning? Long silence. I watched. I timed it. 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Gasps throughout the courtroom. Why didn't you save her? Because I'd taken an oath to protect the innocent. And she wasn't innocent. You're not a judge. You're not an executioner. You're a murderer. Yes, James said quietly. I suppose I am. The jury deliberated for 3 days. On day 3, the verdict came. On the charge of first-degree murder, we find the defendant not guilty. Aisha's mother screamed. Her father collapsed. On the charge of second-degree murder, we find the defendant guilty. The judge sentenced him to 23 years to life. Possibility of parole after 16 years. This was not passion, the judge said. This was not an accident. This was calculated. The defendant is a trained law enforcement officer. He knew how to save her. He chose not to. That choice makes him guilty of murder. James Morrison was led away in handcuffs. He looked back once at the 3 friends. They couldn't meet his eyes. The 3 friends faced their own justice. Robert got 4 years for conspiracy and fraud. David got 18 months. Marcus got 7 years when investigators uncovered his money laundering operations. All 3 lost everything. Careers destroyed. Marriages ended. Reputations ruined. They live now in different cities, working ordinary jobs, carrying their guilt like stones they can never put down. Aisha's family started a foundation. The Truth Initiative. It warns young women about the dangers of transactional relationships, about how schemes can turn deadly. They've helped over 200 young women leave dangerous situations and find legitimate paths forward. Her mother speaks at events. My daughter made terrible choices, she says. But she was 24. She had time to change. That time was stolen from her. Today, James Morrison sits in a Canadian prison. He works in the library, teaches other inmates to read, follows rules. Model prisoner. His children haven't visited since the trial. He writes letters. They go unanswered. He understands. In 16 years, he'll be eligible for parole. He'll be 69 years old. If he lives that long. If he wants to. A journalist interviewed him 2 years after the verdict. Do you regret it? She asked. Every day. Do you think about her? Every night. I see her face. Hear her voice. Watch her drown over and over. That's my sentence. The real one. Not these walls. If you could go back, would you save her? Long pause. I want to say yes. I want to be the man I was before. But honestly, I don't know. In that moment, with everything I knew, feeling what I felt, I don't know if I could choose differently. What would you tell someone in a similar situation? Someone betrayed like you were? Walk away. No matter how much it hurts, no matter how angry you are, walk away. Because revenge costs more than you can imagine. I lost my freedom, my children, my legacy, everything that made me who I was. And for what? She's still dead. They're still guilty. Nothing changed except I became the monster they believed I was. This case forces uncomfortable questions. About age gap relationships. About transactional marriages. About betrayal and revenge. About when victims become perpetrators. About where justice ends and vengeance begins. The truth is everyone was a victim. Everyone was a perpetrator. Everyone lost. James lost his freedom, his family, his identity. Aisha lost her life. The 3 friends lost everything they'd built. The families lost people they loved. And for what? A joke. A bet. $50,000. Citizenship papers. Pride. Revenge. Nothing worth the cost. The overwater bungalow in the Maldives still operates. The resort changed its number, but locals know. They call it the honeymoon of death. Some staff refuse to work there at night. They say they feel something, hear something, the echo of tragedy that won't fade. Because paradise doesn't remember tragedy. It just reflects whatever you bring to it. They brought betrayal, lies, revenge, greed, pride. Paradise reflected it all back. And everyone drowned. If this case affected you, if it made you think about trust and betrayal and the terrible cost of revenge, please subscribe to Crime Canvas. We examine real cases with the respect they deserve, honoring victims while trying to understand how these tragedies happen. Because understanding how darkness enters our lives might be the only way to keep it from entering yours. Thank you for watching. Take care of each other out there.